What's going on, guys? This is Vince with VShred.com, and in today's video I'm gonna give you the 5 biggest fat loss mistakes that you're making at the grocery store. So we're not going to the gym today, we're going to the grocery store where it all starts and showing you where you are messing up so that you can make getting in shape and losing weight and burning fat that much easier. All right, in today's video, we are going to be talking about the grocery store and the mistakes that you're making when you go grocery shopping. And well, these are probably mistakes that you're not even aware that you're making and are causing you to buy things that you don't want, causing you to spend more money than you'd like, and ultimately causing you to regret it when you're home or eating stuff that you wouldn't have gotten if you avoided these mistakes. Now, jumping right into this, the first one is going to be not making a list when you go to the grocery store. Now, this one is going to have to be broken down because when you're making a grocery list, and I'm going to get into the reasons why this is so effective here in a second, when you're making a grocery list, you have to make sure that you are getting the right kinds of foods that are going to match your diet. And if you're not sure what type of diet you should be following, that's the number one thing that you gotta fix before you even go to the grocery store, because you gotta figure out what types of foods are gonna be best, how many macros you should be having of protein every day, of carbs every day, of fats every day, because once you are hitting those, getting in shape becomes almost effortless, and you get to enjoy foods that you normally wouldn't have gotten to follow if you tried something like a no-carb diet or a low-fat diet or some fat diet that doesn't work like that. Hitting your macros every day is probably the number one diet that has gotten me to be able to stay in shape year-round while doing it in a sustainable way. And if you don't know what your macros are, totally okay. I have a free body type quiz that tells you the exact number of carbs, fats, proteins, and calories that you need for your body and your goals. The quiz is right below this video. At the end of it, it'll pop up a video. Watch the video, and right below that, after a couple seconds, will pop up the macro percentages. And also in that video, if you want to watch it, it's 3 tips to get in shape for your specific goals. So you can take the macros and run, or you can watch the video and learn 3 quick tips for burning fat faster to make it more realistic and more efficient in what you do at the gym and how to spend less time during your workouts, eat more food, stuff like that. It's really good stuff. Link down below. But number one, like I said, is making a list. And like I said, you have to know what foods you're gonna get. The reason this is so important is because when you go to the store without a list, what happens? Well, you get a bunch of foods that you didn't wanna get. And on the adverse side of that, you don't get foods that you did wanna get. So you're probably walking down an aisle and getting something that you don't want because you didn't have a list put together, and also you're leaving, you get home the next morning, you forgot to get coconut oil, and now you're all mad at yourself because you didn't get coconut oil when you went to the grocery store last night, and now you have to get it the day after work, and it's just annoying. Avoid that. Make a list. When you go to the grocery store, have that list right in your hand. I personally write it in the notes on my iPhone, and I have exactly what I'm getting. I go there, I get all of those, nothing else, nothing less, and I leave. And that makes my grocery store trip take about 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. So tip number 1, make a list. Tip number 2 is going to be avoid walking down all the aisles. I kind of touched on this just now talking about the list that you need to be making, but one of the biggest things that I've seen even like my parents do at the grocery store, even I've done it myself, is you go to the grocery store, you probably start on the far left side or the far right side, and then you probably go up and down every single aisle to make sure that you're not forgetting anything. And what happens is you're going down some aisles that you probably don't need to be going down. You're probably not getting anything from those aisles. So these could be things like the candy aisle. That's the one that I'm really bad at. I specifically avoid the candy aisle because I know 100% if I go down the candy aisle, I'm either gonna get Sour Patch, I'm either gonna get Kit Kats, or I'm either gonna get Reese eggs, depending on what season it is. Because I love Reese eggs. I don't know why, they're just amazing. I don't really like Reese cups. I like Reese cups, but not as much as the eggs. They're just so much better, don't know why, and if I see them, I'll get them. So I avoid the candy aisle. Another aisle that could be super important or super helpful to skip are any frozen aisles, unless you're specifically going for like frozen fruit because it's just easier for you in your diet. Frozen aisles, like the freezers, those are typically going to be things like Hot Pockets and quick bake pizzas and just foods that aren't going to be good for you. Very highly processed foods that aren't going to be great nutrients for your body. That you'll probably end up getting, spur of the moment, regret later, and especially regret it when you eat it. So avoid the aisles that you're not going to be needing anything from. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3, and I think this could even be tip number 1, is stop going to the grocery store when you're hungry. This is probably the biggest mistake that anybody could ever make, and you've probably done it before, and you probably know exactly what happens. You get food that you wouldn't have gotten if you weren't hungry. The best thing that you can do before going to the grocery store, especially when you're on a diet or you're new to starting a diet or you're just trying to stick to your diet, eating before you go grocery shopping. Because if you eat before you go grocery shopping, the only thing on your mind is not food. Because when you go hungry, you are less likely to make those smart decisions on the foods that you should get. Because when you go and you're hungry, you're looking at things like beef jerky and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm really hungry. Beef jerky sounds really good. It's not on your diet at all. You're gonna get a bunch of extra sodium in, or it could be, I don't even know what your little go-to snacks are. You're gonna end up getting foods that you wouldn't have gotten simply because you're going to the grocery store hungry. So cancel that out. Eat right before you go to the grocery store. Eat an hour before you go to the grocery store. Eat sometime soon before you go to the grocery store, and it's going to help you make better decisions when you're walking up and down the aisles, getting the foods that you should be getting and not the foods that you want at that exact moment in time. Tip number 4 is stop going when it's busy. You see, this is a big mistake in my opinion because personally, I hate things that aren't efficient. I have kind of mastered my efficiency in life around the errands that I run, and one of my biggest pet peeves is going to a store, like a grocery store, when it's busy. Going on like Saturday at noon is my worst nightmare because it's low. There's tons of people there. I already don't enjoy going grocery shopping. I don't think anybody really enjoys it because you're going, and if you're trying to diet, you're getting these healthy foods that don't really sound that great. You're spending money and you don't really look forward to that. So why make it worse by having to stand in a long line or maneuver around a ton of people or maybe even get caught talking to somebody that you don't want to talk to? So you want to remove any objections that you could have, anything that could make you tell yourself, I don't really want to go to the grocery store because it's going to be really busy right now. Personally, I don't go to the grocery store unless it's like 9-10 p.m. Like right now, it's literally 9:55 p.m. I'm filming this video in my studio. I'm going to the grocery store after I film this video because it's going to be empty. I'm gonna get in, I'm gonna get exactly what I need. I'm gonna get my rice, I'm gonna get my chicken, I'm gonna get my eggs, I'm gonna get my yogurt, I'm gonna get my granola, a couple other things that I need, and I'm going to leave. There's gonna be no line. I'm gonna do self-checkout. I'm gonna be out of there so fast. It's not this big thing in my head where I go, the grocery store is an hour-long thing. No, I don't think I've ever been to the grocery store for an hour. Longest I've ever been in the grocery store is probably 30 minutes because the system went down like a month ago. That was the longest that I've been because I pick my time specifically and I get rid of those roadblocks in my head that could keep me from going and getting these foods that I need to stick to my diet throughout the week. So tip number 4, make sure you're not going at a busy time. Save yourself some time. Save yourself those self-negotiations that could possibly be going on and that negative feedback loop that's probably happening when you do go to the grocery store at a busy time and you end up hating it. So make sure it's not busy when you're going. And the last tip, and again, these are in no specific order, but the last and final tip is going to be realistic with the foods that you get and what you're actually going to cook and what you're going to actually eat. I think one thing that I personally messed up a long time ago when I really started getting on my diet was I was very ambitious about how perfectly I was going to diet. And being ambitious is great, don't get me wrong. And if you can do that and you can be that ambitious and you can get all these little ingredients and you can cook these amazing meals and that's something that you're going to do and you enjoy doing that, more power to you. Keep going that route. Personally, I hate cooking. I just don't like it. I don't know if I'm even good at it because I don't even want to try to be good at it. So when I first started going to the grocery store and getting groceries to cook my foods for the week, I would get all these things and I'd be like, well, I'm gonna make some nice spaghetti this week. And then I'd get these noodles and I'd get this spaghetti or the sauce, things to make the sauce. And I'd have these whole wheat noodles and this sauce. And if I didn't throw them away, they'd probably still be in my pantry because I'm never gonna cook it. And it may not be exactly like that for you, but being realistic with yourself, with what you're actually going to eat throughout the week is so big, because you don't want to go and buy a bunch of foods, then end up throwing those foods away. So not only are you going and wasting time getting those foods, but you're also wasting money because you're throwing it away, but then you're also telling yourself you failed. And you don't want that either. You want to be able to self-motivate yourself. And so I almost tell people to start light. Like maybe go and buy a little bit of chicken, some eggs, maybe some rice or potatoes or whatever, just something, just go and get a few things. And then when you do cook all of those and you do run out and you do have to go again, it's almost like, nice, I got those groceries and I cooked them all and I ate them all. That's cool. Now you can start getting in a routine of this, and it's not gonna be so demanding the next time that you go to the grocery store because you're starting to get used to that. And personally, what I've found is that I diet best when I keep it simple and I get the same thing every single week. I don't know what it is about my brain, but I just like routine. And so I go to the grocery store, and like I said earlier, I get the same thing every grocery store trip. I get chicken breast, I get eggs, I get rice, I get granola, I get yogurt, almond milk, sometimes frozen fruits, and then there's gonna be things just spread out in there that are random ones, like things that I run out of, like, I don't know, coconut oil, like I said earlier. It's just something like that. But I'm very realistic with myself about what I will actually cook and what I will actually eat. And I don't even cook all 4 or 5 meals that I'm gonna eat every single day. I meal prep about 2 meals that I'm gonna eat every day throughout the week. So I'm prepping probably not exactly 2 every day, but I'm prepping around 10 meals when I prep, and then I eat those throughout the week, and that makes everything that much easier and that much more efficient for my personal schedule, and it helps me hit my macros. So tip number 5 is be realistic about what you're going to actually cook and what you're going to actually eat, because you also don't want to go home and cook a bunch of food and then not eat any of it. That's also not fun. So just being realistic with yourself, it's gonna help you a lot, and even starting a little smaller and then working your way up as you develop that routine and those habits, it's gonna be, it could help a lot. So those are the 5 tips, guys. I really hope that helped you out. These are just mistakes that I've heard of being made, or I've had people email me about, or I've personally made, and I'm hoping that it can help you as well. So if it did, make sure you're clicking the thumbs up button below for me. That I really would appreciate it. If I helped you, help me and click that, because that helps me understand if these videos are being liked and what topics to talk about. Also, it helps the video get out and be seen by more people, which is the whole point of the YouTube channel. So also make sure you're subscribing if you're not yet. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.